and welcome. You're watching a special episode on the preview of the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe with me, Mandira Lalwani, and Mohit Lalwani. This race, incidentally, now is the richest race on turf and the second just behind the Dubai World Cup when it comes to prize money. Mohit, that is just phenomenal, isn't it?
That's right. Apart from the fact that it's possibly a year-ending championship for middle distance horses over a mile and a half in Europe, you have an event unlike any other in the world of horse racing. There are great events that happen midsummer, such as the King George. You've got the Kentucky Derby in spring. You've got the Epsom Derby. You've got the French Derby. A lot of great European racing here in Singapore. We've even got the Singapore Airlines International Cup. But there's just nothing like this at this time of the year that defines championship for Europe.
And why is that? What sets this race apart from the others the way it does?
Well, I think first and foremost is history. I think the fact that you've got a race that was instituted back in 1920 in order to, bring the older horses with the younger horses together, I think has created a platform for possibly what is the best race over a mile and a half in the world. But having said that, it's not only the Arc. You have a support card. Originally, it was only on Sunday, where you have a support card of multiple Group 1 races, which now has extended to Saturday almost to compete with the Breeders' Cup. So you've got Saturday racing of the highest caliber, and then you've got Sunday, which also has the Prix de l'Opera, which has the, the Grand Criterium. You've got the Prix Marcel Boussac. You've got the Prix l'Abbé. All Group 1 races and all defining championships over different distances. And at Longchamp, the Bois de Boulogne, what more could you want? The setting is perfect.
That explains the anticipation, the excitement, the buzz around this weekend. But speaking of history for just a second, which, according to you, the horses that are the most prolific, the most exciting finishes, perhaps, at the Arc?
Well, the one I saw was back in 1986 for the first time. That was Dancing Brave. I thought we hadn't ever seen a performance like that, and I don't think we've ever seen one like that, because what Dancing Brave did to a field that included multiple Derby winners, that included, if I remember correctly, 9 or 10 Group 1 winners. I think what he did to that field was absolutely astonishing. Zarkava, I thought, was very special. I thought Sumio rode a howler in that race, and but for the fact that he had a French horse on his outside, he would have been trapped if it was a Coolmore horse, and he would have lost on possibly one of the great Aga Khan fillies of all time. And then, of course, See the Stars. He fought all the way up the backstretch and then took time to get a run. But when I spoke to Kinane, I remember him telling me that in his opinion, no horse that's ever worn a bridle that he's ever seen was better than See the Stars. So I think these three certainly stand out in my mind. And of course, last year's champion, Triomphe, she'll run again this year, but she's not the same filly, unfortunately.
Zarkava, one of the most phenomenal fillies in her time. Of course, Mohit, fillies here in this race specifically have had a fantastic record, haven't they?
Well, strangely, the perception was that they haven't, but the truth is, yes, they have. The fillies have done very well. Look, you had Zarkava, you've had Salamia, you've had Trev. So you've had 3 fillies more or less in the last 5 years to come out and win this race from what I remember. But for 3-year-old fillies specifically, there's a huge weight advantage. Later on in this episode, we will discuss that. The fact is that they get a lot of weight, probably set traditionally, back in the 1920s, when at that time there was a huge difference between the colts and the fillies. Not so anymore, but that advantage still holds.
What you're saying is it's only because of the weight advantage that the fillies win. I think that's a little unfair.
No, it is. It is because of the weight that the fillies do win. It's absolutely inconceivable that you think that a 3-year-old would carry level weight with a 4 or a 5-year-old and end up beating them.
Well, back on a serious note now, and this year's favourite also happens to be a filly, and that's Tagrura. Let's have a look at some of her races.
Tagruda towards the outside, followed by Tarfasha, then Anipa and Marsh Daisy. Marvellous is off the inside, but under pressure now. Enchila switched inside. Volume is challenged by Tagruda, and Tagruda, the pretty Polly winner, takes it up from Volume in second. Tarfasha third. Itimau beginning a run down the outside in the all blue of Godolphin, worn by Kieran Fallon. Tagruda leads the way, entering the final furlong. Tagruda by 3 lengths. Volume, Tarfasha giving chase. Enchila and Itimau, but Tagruda is too good and wins the Oaks in the hands of Paul Hannigan in the colours of Sheikh Hamdan. about 3/4 of a length down to Gruda. The filly now begins to stay on towards the outside, inside the two. Mukadram, Telescope, can to Gruda, reel them back. Eagle Top staying on from the back. Telescope got to Mukadram. Here comes to Gruda, charging down the outside. 3 lengths to Eagle Top. The filly takes over. To Gruda from Telescope, then Mukadram, and they race up to the line. The first filly in over 30 years to win the King George. To Gruda lands it.
Tagruda, clearly a filly who's done very little wrong so far. Mohit, what according to you are her realistic chances?
I think she's got a real serious chance, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. I thought this particular year you had a fairly strong crop of 3-year-olds. A lot of people believe that Tagruda was good enough to challenge Australia, and she possibly proved that because Australia's form is looking very strong with Kingman behind him, more or less level with him in the 2000 Guineas, and Kingman, of course, is a champion miler. But coming back to Tagruda, she won the Oaks, and well, yes, she won the Oaks, and that isn't, according to me, strong enough to be the favourite for the Arc. But what really impressed me was her victory in the King George. We just took a look at that, and I thought that was really superb. For a filly to come out and win the King George midsummer, when Coolmore's horses are peaking, when you've got absolutely everything, the 3-year-olds are maturing, the Derby winners from all across the country are there. I think to come out and win the race the way she did spoke volumes for her ability. Is she as good as Australia? Time will tell, and Sunday we'll know, but she's not far behind, I'll tell you that.
Thank you for staying with us here on The Winning Post, powered by Delton Casinos in association with the Serum Institute of India. We'll come back to our preview of the Prix de l'Arc Triomphe, but just for a bit, let's head over to Pune and have a look at the last of the Indian classics, the Indian Sin Ledger.
The previous 4 Indian classics of the current year have seen only one favourite oblige, and that was Muroy, whose margin of victory in the Indian 2000 Guineas was clear-cut. The other 3 classics have been claimed by outsiders. And the last classic of the season promises to provide a stirring contest, though there are just 4 runners, with 2 from the same stable this year. The Indian Saint Leger is the longest and last of the 5 Indian classic races run in Western India. It is also the 3rd leg of the Indian Triple Crown. The first running of this race was as the Governor General's Cup in the year 1944 till 1949, and thereafter it was run as the Indian Saint Leger. The first edition of this race was won by Royal Windsor, owned by His Highness Maharaja Gaikwad of Baroda, trained by M.C. Patel and ridden by E. Britt. R.R. Bairamji is the only trainer till date to record a hat-trick in this race, with Sweet Memories, who won the race in 1975, Comanche, who won the race in 1976, and Squanderer, who won the race in 1977. McDowell's, who sponsors the biggest race in the country, the McDowell Signature Indian Derby, is also behind this classic race, the only one to be run in Pune.
The Indian Saint Leger was traditionally run at Pune for many years. It moved to Mumbai because the sponsor, the UB Group, sponsored the Indian Triple Crown, which meant the Leger had to be in Mumbai. But when they withdrew from the Triple Crown sponsorship, we approached them, and we also thought it was best to move the Leger back to Pune. So we have another Indian classic at Pune, and for the last, I think this will be the 3rd year when it'll be back in Pune, and we are extremely thankful for USL for continuing their association with this longest of our Indian classics.
The race is run over a grueling 2,800 meters and is open to 4-year-olds. Of the 4 runners this year, the contest was between 2. Alan Dare, trained by Altamash Ahmed, and Amazing Grace from the formidable Pacey Shroff stable. Alan Dare has not been beaten by any horse alive in India since 1st May 2013. His solitary reverse came in the Indian 2000 Guineas, where Murray proved just too good. Allendere's last start was the President of India Gold Cup in Hyderabad, which he won comfortably. And going by his past record, it was likely that even though he was not the favourite to win, he would take this one home with YS Srinath on board once again. Amazing Grace on her last start won the Idar Gold Cup Group 3, beating Circle of Bliss with ridiculous ease. Besides, while she had been coming with a late run earlier, she hit the front at the top of the straight and sailed away to show that she doesn't rely on just one style of running. She was the favoured one here, with Trevor Patel aiding her in her bid for glory. With the stage set for the battle of the sexes, the horses were led to the starting gates.
They're off and racing for the signature Indian St. Leger Grade 1. Even start then, Allendare being held to find himself in front, about a length and a quarter in front of Amazing Grace. On the outside there's Starry Eyes, a neck behind. Another length and a half away is Montreal. They're crawling over it now, with Allendare now being joined on the outside by Starry Eyes, the jockey fighting hard to keep Starry Eyes in check. A length and a quarter away is Amazing Grace. Another length and a half behind is Montreal as they pass the grandstands for the first time. They're galloping past the 1800 meter marker now. It's taking shape here. Starry Eyes is bowling along merrily in front, a distance clear of Allendare in second position. Another distance behind is Amazing Grace. 4 lengths behind Amazing Grace is Montreal. Past the 1000 meter marker now. Starry Eyes is just about 3.5, 4 lengths in front of Allendare, getting closer. Another 2 lengths further back there is Amazing Grace, and still far away Montreal as they come past the 800 meter marker. Starry Eyes, about a length and quarter in front of Allendare now, getting at her. Another 2 lengths behind is Amazing Grace, right with them as their pace hots up for the final run-in. Allendare comes in home first, about a length and a half in front of Amazing Grace coming up on the outside, and the two champions have pulled away from Starry Eyes with about 300 meters more to run. Allendare towards the inside race from Starry Eyes, stringing along on the outside. It's Amazing Grace, I beg your pardon. Amazing Grace about 2.5, 3 lengths in front, and she is travelling beautifully at this stage with about a furlong to go, and we know who the winner is. It's Amazing Grace, about 3.5, 4 lengths clear. Allendare is beaten. Amazing Grace with Trevor winning this one very, very easily from Allendare finishing up second. Then there is
The race that was touted as a close fight between the champion gelding Allendare and the classy filly Amazing Grace turned out to be the opposite, as Amazing Grace made it a literal no contest, leaving Allendare trailing by 7 lengths as she crossed the winning post. Starry Eyes was in third, a whopping 20 lengths behind her, while Montreal was a distance behind, 30 lengths to be precise, in fourth. Amazing Grace became the 7th filly to win this race after Sweet Memories, Tribute, Menorah, Pennywise, Classic Story and In the Spotlight.
Well, frankly, we were quite bullish about it. She's an improving filly. She's gone from strength to strength. Allendare has done nothing wrong. I mean, he's a top-class horse, especially that performance in the President of India in Hyderabad, coming back after setback. So, I mean, there was always that concern. I think she's peaking now. She's at her best. No, she's always been a good filly. I mean, she's been a top filly, but her career started quite late. As a late 2-year-old, she had a chip in her hock. She was operated on. When she was ready to run at the end of last season, she had a problem with her feet. So that's why her start of her career was delayed. And she's come into her own, and, you know, Pacey's done a fabulous job with her. He's had the patience and he's done a super job with her.
Time for a quick break here on the Winning Post. We return and continue with our preview of the Arc, a look at the numbers and how they play out. Stay with us. Welcome back to the special preview of the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Now for this year, there are 3 Japanese runners that are going to be taking part in the big race. The problem is that so far success at the Arc has eluded the Japanese. Will it be different this time around? Do they have what it takes to win the Arc? Let's find out.
If ever there was a race that the Japanese have wanted to win, it is the Arc. While this race has eluded them so far, Japanese trained horses have tended to reward their legion of supporters with big runs on the day. El Condor Pasa in 1999, and Nakayama Festa in 2010 finished second, whilst the heavily supported Deep Impact finished third in 2006, even though he was later disqualified. Ofower was something of an unlucky loser in 2012, beaten by the draw and the tactical no of ARC specialist Pellier aboard the winner. Drawn 8 in the 2013 renewal, he ran a game race to finish second behind Trev. With the two top contenders in the race this year, many will cheer to see the Japanese flag fly on the first Sunday of October at the Bois de Boulogne.
All right, Mohit, judging by what you've seen so far in these races, do you think the horses this year have the ability to break the jinx?
I'm not certain. You can't ever count them out. They've done so well. You saw how they dominated on, World Cup day. I think from the three Japanese horses, my pick would be, just the way, because he won the Dubai duty-free, a Group 1 race. I think he's got to find a little bit more on that. But yes, he's good.
And speaking of never befores, there's an interesting horse here called Kingston Hill. He was second in the Epsom Derby. He won the St. Leger. Let's have a look at this one.
On the left is Australia. They look like fighting it out with a furlong and a half left to go. And Australia takes over from Kingston Hill. Romsdale is back in third place. Then Arod. But it's Australia that's kicked a length and a half clear. Kingston Hill is battling on. Australia from Kingston Hill. Born to win the Derby. His day of destiny. Australia wins from Kingston Hill in second.
Down the Derby third, picking up. Snow Sky on the outside is beginning to get going as well. Kingston Hill's been pulled very, very wide down the centre of the course. He's trying to stay on as they race inside the final furlong and a half. Romsdale with every chance forever now. Hartnell seems to have given way. Kingston Hill and Snow Sky thrusting late. Over on the far side is Winshire, who's packing a late punch. Kingston Hill edging left-handed, comes through and takes over from Romsdale. Kingston Hill just in front, and Kingston Hill is going to win the Ladbroke St. Leger. He wins by a length and a half from Romsdale.
Judging by this performance here, Mohit, would you say Kingston Hill is a serious dark horse in the race?
Very serious dark horse in this race. Second to Australia means he's a really good horse. Australia won the Epsom Derby. He was second, and a good second to Australia. But the only thing is, he won the St. Leger after that, and no horse in history has ever won the St. Leger and ARC in the same year. It's never happened. Can it happen this year? Well, you know what? We have a host of stats for you to consider. Let's take a look at them. And, well, you never know. Your winner more than likely may just be a result of some of these permutations and combinations. The draw matters in the ARC, with only two winners in the last 12 years, Dalakani and Trev, racing from a stall number higher than 9. Stall 1 is a coffin box, and only one horse, Carroll House, drawn 16, has managed to win from a draw higher than 15 in the last 26 years, and that too on good going. Horses drawn in stalls 2, 4, 6 and 7 have won 14 of the last 27 runnings of the race, a strike rate of 51%. 14 of the last 27 runnings of the ARC were won by lightly raced, strongly fancied, French-trained 3-year-olds. 16 of the last 20 runnings of the race have been won by horses aged 3. The last 5-year-old winner of this race was Marion Bard in 2002, whilst the last 4-year-old to triumph was Solomia in 2012. 4-year-olds have won 14 of the last 41 runnings of the race, giving them a strike rate of 34%. 4 4-year-olds have won in the last 21 years, a strike rate of 19%. There have been just 8 winners aged 5 years old and over since the first running in 1920, with Marion Bard being the last 5-year-old winner of the race. It's simply wrong to repeat the old myth that fillies have a poor record in the race. Everything is relative, and a strike rate of 5 winners from the last 21 runnings of the race gives them a 24% winning rate. Urban Sea, Zarkava, Daydream, Solomia and Trev are the impressive winners when one considers that there are usually no more than 1 or 2 fillies in the race each year. The 2006 winner Ray Link gave the master trainer Andre Fabre a record-breaking 7th victory in the race. All Fabre's ARC winners won the perennial except Pentire Selbra, who finished second in that race. 13 of the last 18 winners of the ARC had run in one of the ARC trials, with the perennial clearly the most significant. It should be noted, however, that whilst the 8th 3-year-old winners of the ARC had all contested the perennial, not all had actually won. In the last 30-odd years, 3 horses have won the Prix Vermeil and the Arc in the same season. 3 Troikas in 79, Zarkava in 2008 and the Brilliant Trev in 2013. The Arc winner has not prepped in the Prix Foy, however, since 1992. Since the Brilliant Seabird landed the Arc Epsom Derby double in 1965, 22 other horses have attempted to pull off the double. 5 have managed to imitate Seabird: the Peerless Millreef, Lamtara, Sindar, See the Stars and Workforce. The master of Ballydoyle, Aidan O'Brien, won the Arc in 2007 with Dylan Thomas. On a percentage basis, his record in the race is not great, not least because his horses have tended to peak in mid-season races. Godolphin have won the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe 3 times with Lamtara, Sakhi and Marienbad. Of those jockeys still riding, Pellier is the most successful Arc rider, winning it 4 times. Tittori's won it 3, with Fallon and Sumio each having won the race twice.
All right, so that was a detailed look at how the numbers are playing out when put on paper. Mohit, what is your gut feeling? What are your selections?
Well, the favorite is Tagruda going into the race at this point in time. You know, the odds, she's 5-1 right now, and she's clearly got an edge over the others. She's my first choice. I think a filly will win this again. Tagruda is my first choice. Ekdot is my second choice. I'm still a little uncertain about who I believe will run third, but if I were to actually put my finger on it, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be Kingston Hill.
Well, that's it for this episode. We've done our best to try and bring you all the lowdown and the preview of each of the horses leading up to the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Goodbye and thank you for joining us.